So the second album was a EP by Khalid called Sun City. I don't know if David listened to it or not, but my personal beliefs on this is this album by Khalid was a lot more R&B based, and I digged that. My favorite song from not album, EP, sorry. My favorite song from the EP probably had to be either Saturday Nights or Motion. Both of those songs were really good.
Better was the single off of this one, right?
Better was the single off of this.
Okay.
You're correct. He does exactly what David and I said has been basically what everybody's basing their albums around nowadays, where he puts phone conversations in his EP. It was interesting because you'd be in the middle of a jam and then he'd break it apart with a phone conversation. So, yeah, I don't know. It was an interesting concept, interesting EP. I don't know if there's any, hits off of the EP, but it was a good... I would definitely, listen to it again. So, the next EP is Robert DeLong's EP, and the interesting thing about DeLong's EP is that the majority of songs he has already released. So when I went in to listen to it, I went, I'm interested because obviously two of the four songs on here and have been released already. Revolutionary and Favorite Color is Blue have already been released. Favorite Color is Blue I thought was released last January. So I don't know. I was surprised by that. And then the First Person on Earth is the only song that had not even been leaked, and the beginning of the end was leaked in an ad that he had. So obviously I kind of knew what this is going to sound out like, and it basically sounds like a typical Robert DeLong album, having Long Way Down, things like that. It was just that electronic alternative type music. So that was my take on it. I enjoy his music, so I didn't really think twice about it, but
Future and Juice WRLD released an album this week called Future and Juice WRLD Present ... World on Drugs. And this album has taken over the top songs for this week. It is really...
Of course it does. Any song Future's on does. And Juice WRLD, arguably has one of the best songs of the summer.
Which is so good. It's... Based on that alone, I like Juice WRLD, and Future's music for me is always hit or miss. It's a little bit hard to call. I love some of his songs, and I don't like a lot of his songs.
I've been a Future follower since one of his originals, Turn Off the Lights.
Oh, that's one of his hits.
But yeah, I've always liked Future, so there are a few songs where I'm like, oh, this kind of sucks, but yeah, I have not listened to this album yet. I actually didn't even know it was released until I saw it on this list that David made. So
yep, I have not listened to it either, but I've heard a couple of them just because they are on the top list, and you will hear them too, I'm sure.
I'm sure I'll end up listening to the whole album eventually just because it is Future, and obviously he makes bangers. And I wonder, it's a very interesting duo. Future and Drake made a little bit of sense. This is just different. So I'm curious to see how it's going to play out.
Lil Yachty released an album called Nothing to Prove, and nobody cares about him, so I don't think anybody listened to it.
No. By Law EP by Martin Garrix was released as well. Each letter is the first letter in each song named on the EP. So the first letter of each song is is one of the letters in the EP. That's kind of interesting. I
It's like he couldn't come up with a song name or an album name, so he's like, all right, yeah, the songs are Breach, Yoda Byte, Latency, Access, and Waiting for Tomorrow. So that's the BYLAW.
I do kind of like the name Bylaw, though.
Do you think he rearranged them in that order for that reason?
He could have. I mean, yeah, he definitely could have. I like that name for an album title, and I think, I mean, obviously, it's Martin Garrix. He can name the whatever song he wants, whatever, because it's EDM.
Mother animals.
But yeah, I mean, I don't know. It was all right. Typical EDM album.
Okay, and Outasight also released an album called Future Vintage Soul. Do you remember who Outasight is?
I have no idea who this is.
Do you remember the song that goes, "Tonight is the night that we're losing control. Whoa, 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 whoa."
No.
All right, we'll play it for you. So, do you know it?
Yes, I've heard the song. For some reason your thing, what you were saying, reminded me of The Club Can't Even Handle Me right now. So I was just thinking completely out in left field. But yes, I remember this was like a summer hit.
I think he was basically a one-hit wonder, but when I saw him on this list, I had to bring him up because throwback song made me happy.
I like that. I like that a lot.